You're watching Sitka Community TV. Be sure to like and subscribe if you like what you see.
Since time immemorial and today. All right, so we do not have any visiting Rotarians or guests of Rotarians or many of the Rotarians.
Where are the Rotarians?
What? Oh yes, we do have. I'm sorry. I'm so used to seeing her. You know, me. She's just
part of the furniture.
She's just part of the family. So I don't think to introduce her. But today we do have a very special guest, my daughter, Brianna Burton.
Oh yeah, we used to say hi, Rihanna.
Hi, Rihanna.
Hello. It's been a while. It's like she's part of the family. That's why we all clap.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Anyway, or it should have been the other way, I guess you're right. So, do we have any, Jeff, announcements about the cruise?
I do have an announcement about the cruise. It will be October 21st. It's the best deal for cruise, Allen Marine Cruises in town, money-wise. But we have a whole bunch of people that we have to pay for, a bunch of AFSers, JVs, AmeriCorps, etc. So we need everybody to try to get all their friends and families to buy tickets so we can make some money, because the duck money goes to everybody in the community, but the money from the cruise comes back to help run the club.
Helps run the club and also helps with the
And
national.
Jeff, I'll buy one for an AmeriCorps if you need.
Okay.
Great.
Tell Mr. Whitecamp.
Oh yeah, he's already asked me about it.
Was that good enough, ma'am?
That was good enough.
Thank you. So tell the other Rotarians to get off their.
Yeah, and I don't know offhand if it's on our website, but I will add the event to our website. If it's not on there, our Facebook page, and well, it's on the Facebook page, I'm sure, but I'll add it to the Rotary Club website, so you can have people direct them there if they want more information. They could call John.
It's also on the Raven Radio's community calendar, and they're doing a PSA and KIFW is as well. And I'm sure there'll be stuff in the paper.
Right, but you guys can still feel free to get word out yourself.
And what's the capacity of the boat? Is this the
150.
150? Okay, we hope.
No,
So-
they probably, that's the contract says.
Yeah, so
Unless
if
it
we
breaks
can
down.
fill that up, that would help, you know, as the fundraiser versus just us paying for all of the other people to go. So, okay, just real quick, because we had some technical difficulties, so we want to get started with the program. I just want to say this stuff's going to be over by the badges from now on, in case anyone wants them. In case anyone doesn't know, our Rotary four-way test, we have these little cards that you can put in your wallet, and they have the four-way test, and they have the object of Rotary on it, so there'll be that. And we have these little cards too that say what is Rotary, that kind of explains quickly if anyone's asking you what's Rotary. So you guys can grab some of these and have them with you so you can give them to people. They'll be in this baggie, and they'll be over there available to people. And now Shannon, you wanted to share something with us
Yes.
for our outbound exchange student, Tommy?
I do. And I just have to redo what I just did. So I wanted to introduce you again to Tommy Erickson. You guys remember him? He gave us a nice presentation. Oh, thank you, Madam President and fellow Rotarians and guests. So there's Tommy being greeted by his first host family. It was funny, for a while I was getting a lot of emails from the family saying, and calls from the family saying he doesn't have his visa yet, he doesn't have his visa yet. And no one told me he was actually in the country. So I was like, oh, we got to get this kid out. So if I gave you that information about the visa, in some countries, Rich will tell you this too, you get your visa after you arrive. And you have like 30 days in places like Thailand and I guess the Czech Republic to get your visa. So he'll be doing that, working on that. I think all his documentation right now has traveled to Los Angeles where they have to do something. Anyway, I put in your chat on Zoom right now, there's no reason for you to open it now, but for those, is there anyone online? Probably not, I don't know.
Sean's online.
Sean,
You can
okay.
chat if you want.
But in the chat, in your chat down here, I put his blog. So I was going to read a little bit from that. But he's supposed to, I think he does it every week, so you can check in from him. But what he's told me so far, that it was very scary, you know, kind of getting on the plane and, you know, wondering how things were going to go. And of course, something always goes wrong with the travel. But it looks like he's with a family that likes, he said they're very nice and will help me with my check as long as I help them with their English. They like to travel a lot and also do a lot of biking and competitive orienteering. Tommy's very athletic. He's got kind of a nerdy look, but he's a bit of a jock with the rowing and the cross-country skiing. So he's not in a huge town, but it is an urban area. But I would just encourage you to go on here. And if you want a copy of this, I can just send out an email. But here are the pictures. If you don't end up going in there, there he is with his host mom and a host sister who is going to be in Taiwan this year. And there's more pictures of the family. So I think the first month of exchange, it's like you're on vacation and everything is good and wonderful and easy and you love your host family. So the time that is good to check in on him and send him those postcards. I have his address that I will also share with the club. Feel free to write him a postcard and send him letters of encouragement. Don't dwell too much on how amazing things are right now in Alaska as a general strategy, but just words of encouragement. But you can tell he got to go to an amusement park and all that. So there is Tommy. And I'll let you know when there are new blogs out. I think it's nice since we are, you know, his sponsoring club to just, you know, make him feel like we are his sponsoring club. And after his year, we'll make sure he ends up in Sitka and can meet us, and we'll have a party for him after his successful year. He has very nice parents who've been connected to me through the process. But yeah, it was good to know, finally, when I've been doing all this worrying about his visa, to know he actually went. He started school yesterday.
All right.
So I hope the next blog will be about school.
What city is he in?
He's in a city called Hilava,
Kilava.
which is you can find it, begins with a J-I-H-L-A-V-A. Not super, it's a couple hours outside of Prague. And he went to the city where, I don't know if you guys remember Samantha Williams. She was in the second largest city called it's BRNO. That is the second largest city in the Czech Republic. But anyway,
Cool.
that's it. Oh, and should I introduce Sento? Okay. So I'm going to zip out of that and zip out of everything else. And that's, I'll stand over here, I guess. Preparing for Enzo's, my great pleasure, of course, to introduce Enzo Germano. And I was so worried about his presentation until I spent 5 minutes with him, and then I was like, Enzo and I have had a couple dinners together. This is an option open to any of you. Wednesday night is the night we get together. If you have a Wednesday night free and want to join us at Pizza Express or, you know, Chinese food or whatever, just shoot me a text. You can either take him by yourself or pick him up another night. And he's doing his best to be a good host son. But it is nice also to get him out of the house. And but I'm going to let him do all the introductions. I wasn't worried after I talked to him because he has a great interest in the world and he's very well informed. And yeah, well, we were talking about Brazilian politics and geography, and he engaged the host family really well. So anyway, without further ado, is there anything else I'm missing?
It's so weird that you see
It's just,
me
yeah,
everywhere.
you're just gonna
Yeah.
use the little laptop.
So, hi everybody, my name is Enzo Germano,
Enzo, E-N-Z-O, Germano, you spell German with an O at the end. I'm from Brazil. I'm your host. No, I'm not your host. I'm your inbound. Is that,
Yeah,
that
you're
right?
inbound exchange.
And yeah, my presentation is about Brazil, most like focused on cultural and cultural foods, music, sites, and festivals. So yeah, and a little bit about me at the end. Oh yeah, I have to share screen. Oh my god, my forehead looks immense.
It's like an ogre's got.
He's got a Beatle t-shirt.
Oh, he's got a great
Got
t-shirt
really great
collection.
t-shirts.
Good.
He makes friends
Okay.
everywhere
Uh-huh.
with his t-shirts.
So my presentation is about Brazil and the place I live in, because talking about Brazil, it's not talking about Germany, it's not talking about France, where it is. Just a little place, Brazil. If you don't count Alaska, because Alaska is huge, it's bigger than the US. So you cannot talk about the US. If you live in Texas and you live in New York, it's two different kind of lives. So I'm gonna talk about Brazil and about my state that I live in. To understand the difference, this is a little bit of how we were colonized, right? So from the 1500s, this was the Spanish part and this was the Portugal part. Then after 250 years, we all became a Portugal land. So my part of the country is this part, and we were the ones that were last colonized by Portugal. So we have more things in common with Argentina than we have with São Paulo or Rio de Janeiro.
Show us where those places are.
Kinda by here, in this edge. After that, we had a lot of migration, and here is a map of the ethnicities of Brazil. Besides, when I put this Brazilian symbol, it means the indigenous people. And besides all of this, we also have a lot of African Brazilians that came from the slave trade. So my part of the country is Italian and German mostly. So, for example, I'm Italian, German, and Spanish. The southeast is where the big cities are, São Paulo, Rio, all the well-known cities are. They have Italian, Portuguese, and they have a lot of Japanese people. And yeah. The center-west, they mostly have Portuguese. They do not have all those immigrations that came by ship. Same thing with the north of Brazil. And here it's covered up, but here in the northeast we have a little bit of French too. Because right here would be the French Guiana, and the French tried to colonize us too. Now about Brazil. First of all, I want to talk. Oh my God, why is this?
So the next slide, I think.
No, it isn't. It's not loading the
There we
photos.
go.
Yeah.
Be patient.
It's really slow today.
It's a busy day.
So the first thing I'm gonna talk about is Carnival, which is the big Brazilian festival. It is 40 days before the Easter. Easter, does that make sense? And we have like 4 or 5 days of parties on the streets. As you can see, there are like, that's our big holiday. It's like you have the 4th of July, we have Carnival. It's parades, we have contests, we have whole institutions that work really hard to make a big show at Carnival. Then we have Festa Junina, which basically means Party of June. It's about celebrating, it's mostly about food, but it's about celebrating the harvest and about like the redneck culture. What would be our redneck culture?
You would.
And that's it. Our redneck culture is in the north of Brazil.
Farming.
Yeah, no, really. It's not about farming as it is about. Yeah, kind of.
Folk.
Yeah, it's about the places that do not really. They live on farming, but they don't farm enough to have money.
Okay.
Then the sites. The first one I brought is the Amazon. This is the Amazon River. It's the most complicated and the biggest river system in the world. The Amazon rainforest, it's not only in Brazil, but most part of it is. And yeah, I never been. It's great from what I heard. You can go on whole tours doing all the river. You can find alligators, you can find something that look like dolphins but are not dolphins. I don't know the English translation to that. And you can sometimes, if the tribes are open, you can spend a day with them. We have o Pelourinho, which is a neighborhood in Salvador, right at the north of the country. The story is really harsh. This street is a down road street. This street was known for where the slaves would get punished, and now it's a tourist center. So, and at the top of it, you see the post where they were resident. And now it's a really big arts, culture, food, traditional stuff center. Then we have o Cristo Redentor, which is in Rio de Janeiro. To get there, you don't climb this hill, you go through another hill, and then you get one of those...
Like a train, a gondola.
A gondola, exactly. To here, and sometimes they put huge, it's not a, how would I say? They clove the Christ by throwing lights at it.
Spotlights.
Yeah. This is Beco do Batman, which means to Batman's Alley. It's kind of it's a bunch of valleys in São Paulo, which is they're devoted to street art. So you go there, it's a bunch of young people making art with spray paints, and it's really fun. I got to see one of these huge walls being made in front of me. It's really fun. You can talk to them. They're super cool. It's one of the things that I would say for you to go in São Paulo. These are the Iguaçu Falls, or Foz do Iguaçu, which is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, I don't know, falls in the world. They are like a day or two travel from where I'm from, so I've been there like 2 or 3 times, and you can hear, it's like when you're near a waterfall, you just hear that. You cannot talk to anyone because the sound from the drop is so loud that you cannot hear anything. Again, beautiful. I don't know what to say. Like you guys, we have a lot of nature. It's different kind of nature, but it's also varied nature. So you guys have the mountains, you have the wildlife, you have hunting, and we have water in jungle. So now food. Let's see if it loads. Yeah. Have any of you ever had empanadas?
Yes.
These are like the Brazilian version of empanadas. So it's the crust is way thinner, and you deep fry them, and you can put anything you want in here. The classical one is cheese, but you can also put like chocolate if you want, and it still tastes good.
Still tastes good, even with chocolate.
Is that how big they are?
Some are this big,
Oh, okay.
Oh,
and some are like
Oh.
this big, and it
So the big
depends.
ones you share.
Well, the farmers market one would be we call it feira. It's this here.
Holy moly.
After that, we have coxinha, which basically means chicken leg. But so this is shredded chicken with a dough, and inside there is a Brazilian version of cream cheese, and it's so good. And you deep fry them. And there's a very high discussion if you should eat them here or here.
What end do you eat?
The right one, which is the top one. This is brigadeiro, which is condensed milk with chocolate powder, and and a little bit of butter, and you mix that in a pot, and it's so good. I need to make it to you guys. I just need to buy condensed milk because I still haven't found it. I'll probably just Amazon.
You already have condensed milk.
You have?
I got condensed milk at home.
So yeah. Cheese bread or pão de queijo, it's not really cheese bread. It's just the cheese goes into the dough, and it's your equivalent of bagels. You guys created bagels, we created cheese bread, and some people put all kinds of stuff in them, but it's regularly eaten just by
How
themselves.
big are those?
Some people make them huge for no reason, but most of them are like this size, or this size. They're not big, but they're like, I don't know, I would call them like this, but you guys don't have this. You cannot eat with just one of them.
Oh, yeah.
This is caipirinha, which is an alcoholic drink. It goes cachaça, which is a Brazilian thing made with sugar cane. That's a lime, right? Okay. We call that lemon. And a little bit of sugar and a lot of ice. And then I don't know how it is. I know
Oh,
it's
right.
good.
You hear it's good.
I hear it's so good. This is feijoada, which is by a lot of people considered the most traditional Brazilian dish. It's basically beans and a lot of meat. So this is pork, everything's pork, so you put all of the pork that it's not usually eaten inside of it, and that's it. So the nose, the tail, the ears, the knees, all the good stuff.
don't ask.
This is aipim, which is a root. So it's like a potato, but not really. It's not sweet. It's like a potato, but not really. It's called cassava in here. So yeah. Have you guys seen tapioca in
Yeah.
in the supermarkets? It's made from this.
Oh, okay.
Now some music.
Hey, can I stop you for a second?
Yeah.
Do you want to mention the Reese's Pieces?
Oh yes. Do you guys know Reese's Pieces?
Oh, yeah.
The inside of it is Brazilian. So the inside of it, it's called paçoca, and it's been made before Reese's Pieces. So it's so just as it's like a cork from a bottle, that size, and just inside of the Reese's.
You know about the Reese's cups, the little chocolate thingies?
Yeah, but just inside of them.
The pieces, they're
Oh.
like M&Ms, but they have like a peanut butter inside, but they manufacture just the peanut butter part. And
Yeah.
So
Before Reese's was made. And now I'm gonna say an artist and a genre which is very famous in Brazil. This is Alcione, which is a samba musical artist. She's very big. She's almost dying. I've been to one of her concerts, and it's incredible. So if any of you guys want some Spotify tips, go to Alcione. She's amazing, great voice. Tom Jobim, which I think most of you have heard one song from him, which is Girl from Ipanema. There's a Frank Sinatra version, there's a Tom Bennett version.
Sergio Mendes. He's a jazz performer, and he performed that song.
Stan Getz.
So it was the most heard song in the world until Gangnam Style, which is sad. But yeah, he is the master behind that piece of art. And he plays bossa nova, which is Brazilian light jazz. Gilberto Gil, he's now one of the big names in letters in Brazil, and he plays MPB, which is music, popular Brazilian music, or MPB, música popular brasileira. So that's him. He's one of the biggest names. He's 90, I think. This is Tim Maia. He brought in his time they were having a lot of sad songs because it was in the middle of the dictatorship, and he brought cool, funky songs to Brazil. He is Seu Jorge, which means Sir George, and he plays pagode, which is a version of samba, but not really. I don't know how to explain it. It's like blues and jazz, you know? They're kind of the same thing, but not really. That's it. Another great recommendation for you guys. His music's are really good. Cartola, he's one of the best compositors, correct me? Composers in Brazil, one of the best. And he only got famous after he died. And he also plays bossa nova.
Can you go back to the guy right before that man? Yeah, thank you.
He's taking notes.
Yes.
Yeah, you can send us a list of composers or a Spotify.
Thank you.
Share Spotify.
This is Legião Urbana, which basically means Urban Legion. And they are a rock group from the 80s and 90s.
Are they like a boy band or?
I don't know. No.
Okay.
They're more like lyrical heavy. They're like, one of their songs is like 8 or 9 minutes long.
Okay.
This is Racionais MC, which is a rap group. They are the biggest name of Brazilian rap anywhere. They created it, they brought it to Brazil, and they still do it to this day, and they're really good. I've seen some of their stuff, like from American content creators reacting to their stuff, and they think it's really good. Now this is more of a genre. It's Brazilian funk, which is basically young people music. And this is Cabelinho, MC Rinho SP, and right here is Esposa do Rodo. And they are basically the young guys. So most of what I brought back there was like 30 and 40-year-old music. This is 2-year-old or 6 months old music. And this is Alceu. The corrector corrected me wrong. Alceu Valança, and he plays music from the north of Brazil.
The traditional music?
Yeah. And this is Marília Mendonça, and she plays what would be country for us. She plays sertanejo. And the place I live in, it's Rio Grande do Sul, which Rio Grande do Sul, which means big river from the south. And we are known for farming horses. And yeah. This is the best football or soccer club ever. This is trash. The festivals now. Let's wait, okay. This is the grape party, grape. So it's when we uncork a lot of wines, and when we take grapes out of their, I don't know, what do you call grape trees? Is that what you call them? Vines? Okay. And it's like 3 hours from my house. It's great. We have dances, like everything in Brazil. We have alcohol, we have cheese. It's great. And after everything, we have contests for dancing and like Miss Universe, but Miss Grape.
The Grape Queen.
Yes. This is cavalgada, which is a way to let tradition live. Is when a lot of people go to the coast of our state and they travel the whole coast by horse. One fun fact is that my uncle is the person who is alive that has been to most of these, like he's the top one. And it's really fun, but not for me because you stay, like, it's camping for 2 weeks, whole 2 weeks camping. It's not for me. But if you guys want to invite me camping, yeah, sure, I would love to.
Not for 2 weeks.
Not for 2 weeks. Yeah, and this is like a big tradition for us, and it's dying like every single tradition in the world. This is Esplinte, which is basically a fancy name to call cow auctions. This is where people sell cows, and they have the mounting contests where they stay on top of a cow and they wee. No?
It's rodeo.
Rodeos, exactly. And you can like pay a lot of money to go on a helicopter ride. But the main function of this is to get a lot of rich farmers and sell a lot of cows. And it's really fun too.
This be something like our 4-H program?
I don't know what's the 4-H program.
Youth farming, or among other things, right?
Like a youth agricultural program where they can raise animals and then take them to a fair and sell them?
Yeah.
Cool.
The sites, this is São Miguel das Missões, which means Saint Miguel, I don't know if you guys have a translation to Miguel, of the missions. It's one of those Catholic missions that they made to indoctrinate the indigenous people. And it's like 3 hours from my city again. And it's great. I mean, it's so beautiful. The history is really bad, but the sights are great, and in the night they make a light show. And yeah, that's it. It's really pretty. And one of the stories is that the priest, they used to make like huge saint statues made of wood, but they were hollow inside. So they would go into the statues and pretend that they were the saints, so that the indigenous people would believe that the saints were alive.
Our cathedral here in Sitka is San Miguel.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
So that's the Miguel's
Saint Michael.
translation?
Saint Michael.
Oh, okay. Yeah. This is Gramado, which is basically the tourist version of a German town. We have a lot of German towns. We have towns that just speak German in my state, and this is the tourist version of it, and it's really fun. You have great chocolate there. Great chocolate. You have a beautiful cathedral, and this is one of the few places that actually snow in Brazil. So if you are so lucky, you might get 5 hours of snow.
Same.
Yeah, right, it's like that.
And yeah, so you have chocolates, you have really great sights, and you have colonial breakfasts, which are so much food.
And beer.
And beer. But I don't know about that part. This is basically the big park from my city. The translation is big park, which is a dumb name, but it's a really cool name. And it is the Sunday afternoon from most families. And these are the vineyards of Bento. Bento is a city. And you can go to one of these. I went with my school. We had a bunch of grape juice. And you can, if you pay enough, you can collect the grapes and they will make you a bottle of wine. And this is the lake view for my city. So this whole thing is sports centers. So we have basketball courts, soccer courts, volley courts, and a mini skate park. And also this whole thing is a walkway. So this is where young people go to play sports and do cool stuff. And yeah, this is my sites. And this, now foods, right? Have any of you ever had like the mate tea?
Yeah.
The same herb, right? So instead of putting sugar and other kinds of tea in it, we just drink it pure. So it's like, it has more caffeine than coffee. So this is like the morning or afternoon drink for us. And it's really bitter, really bitter. And this is our version of barbecue. It's so good. So basically you take the spikes, we usually made them from metal, and you just take a whole piece of meat and you put it in the spike and you just salt it with grain salt, and then you let it cook for like 2 hours or 1.5 hours depending on the cut, and you cut them and they're beautiful rare. Or medium rare if you let them sit longer. And yeah. Have any of you ever went to like outside of Alaska, because I know that here they don't have it, like a Brazilian steakhouse where they put the thing on the table and they cut it and you can see the meat slide off into your plate. This is from my state. You know the music from my state? It's basically traditional music, which is, it's a little bit of tango, but quicker than tango, and talking about farming, horses, and cows. This is Mano Teixeirinha, which is a very known composer, and yeah. Then we have another MPB. This is one of the biggest MPB names in Brazil, and she's from my state. One of the few women MPB names. And Elis Regina, she died like 10 years ago, but her music's really good, and you should listen to it. Baitaca, same thing, Brazilian Rio Grandense, it's how we call it, like from our state culture, and he is known for creating the most iconic music from our state, which is Milonga Abaixo de Mau Tempo, which basically, Milonga, it's a kind of poetry under the weather, because, yeah. And this is Os Serranos, this time a group, and they basically do like Elvis Presley. They don't create any music, but they take the musics that are big and make it bigger. And Engenheiros do Havaí, which the photo is not loading, but that's okay. It's rock songs. And same thing for Vera Louca. It's rock music. And here is where I grew up most of my life. The place that I actually consider my home is my farm. It's 2 hours, it's half an hour from the city. And yeah, this is where I grew up most of my weekends were spent here. So, just so I have a big picture of it. So it's a little bit more that way, and this is the division, and then more that way, and a little bit more this way. We counted it before. It's 89 acres. It's 89 acres long, and we have cows, we have sheep, we have geese, ducks, chickens, and we have about 9 or 10 dogs, and we have 15 to 20 horses.
You
So
ride?
I do. I miss it actually. So this is where I learned what I like and what I would like to do, which is retire here. This is my future plan. I want enough money to live here, and that's it. And this is a little bit of my family. Here's my dad. Here is like a part of my mom's family, not the whole thing, but this is like our New Year's Eve. These are about like 30 or 40 people. And then we have my whole family, my friends, my aunties, my uncles, my cat. And yeah, that's it. Thanks so much for listening to me. And yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really grateful for it.
You'll take questions.
I
But
do.
It's 1 o'clock, right?
Anybody have questions?
So what transportation do you use to go from the north to the south? Is it railroad or airplane or?
Airplane.
Airplane.
You can go by car, but it's not worth it. I mean, it's way too much gas and it's way too much time. So basically, let me go back to the map. Oh my God. Let me take this. That's it. So from here, that it's my city, to here, it's like 17 hours driving, non-stop. It's quicker for us to go to Argentina than it is to go here.
And where are the falls you showed us?
The falls are kind of here.
They're amazing.
Yeah, they're
They're right
in,
on the border with Argentina, right?
yeah, a little bit of Argentina and a little bit of Uruguay. So,
Well, and you were saying the comparison of the size of Brazil to America
yeah.
is very similar without Alaska, right?
Without Alaska, we're a lot bigger. Not a lot
So-
bigger, but we're like 10 states bigger.
Would you drive across the US or would you fly? That's
Yeah, that's the comparison.
And can you tell us what your family does? Like,
My mom was for a very long time an insurance salesman for Prudential. Then she is now a finance consultant, how it is? Consultant for an investments firm. And my dad is, he has passed.
but what did he do?
He was for the most part of my life, he was a freight salesman for Plus Cargo, which is just in the Latin Americans. He sold freight from China to here, from here to everywhere. He sold freight, and that was his stuff. And after that, he came to work with my mom, and then he got sick.
And you have a sibling.
My sibling, which he's unemployed, but he's in college right now.
We don't call that unemployed.
No?
No, student. And you say it's student, university student.
But he is unemployed.
Yeah, I mean, technically you're right, but we would not use that term for someone that was going to school.
He works, but not really. He works like 4 hours a day.
Oh, that's part-time.
He goes to school part-time. You're not impressed by him, so.
Yeah, he goes to school from 7 o'clock to like 11 o'clock, and he works from 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock.
What's he studying?
He's studying, in his words, programming with the most maths in it. So he's a big nerd. And he loves math, and I don't understand what he's studying because most of his calculus don't have numbers on them. But he's studying programming. Yeah. It's called data science, artificial intelligence, and ciência de dados, inteligência artificial, e analysis and system analysis.
How many languages do you speak?
2.5.
What's the half?
Spanish. I can communicate, I could live there with no problem at all, but I don't know how to actually speak and write in Spanish.
And then you're learning Klingon.
And I'm learning Klingon. In fact, I think I missed most of my Klingon classes.
Okay. We'll get you back to school. Thank you.
That was great.
Wow.
Okay, and so we'll look to the website for next week's speaker. We'll get an email out before the meeting. And unless anyone else has anything to add, we'll say have a good week.
Just my name? Just my name?
So where's the
Are you gonna
equator?
get back to?
Are they south of the equator?
Yeah, where he is, the equator runs right through the area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, tell them about the jackal.
I have pictures.
What's a humble?
Cross between a
Humpy
humpy
salmon?
fish and humpy fish and an elephant.
That's why they're having the harvest
Hi,
festival
Rex.
too.
Welcome back. I heard your show. How much been yesterday going to
At
12?
12
Yeah.
or at like 11?
Labor Day.
I'm only here.
Formal training starts at 6
Self
usually.
conference is all.
Oh, really?
And then I'm on vacation, but I am down in October, so make sure.
Should I jerk the plug?
So yeah, next week is probably the one.
You're watching Sitka Community TV. Be sure to like and subscribe if you like what you see.